I wouldn't put money into this new thing called Bitclout. And now the idea of this thing called Bitclout, it sounds pretty fascinating, but I wouldn't invest one single penny in it. Let me explain what Bitclout is and why I wouldn't put one dime into it. Bitclout is basically this, they claim that they're the crypto social media site, and basically, you know, a lot of people are getting tired of Twitter and Facebook and all the nonsense that goes on there and the censorship. So people are saying, oh wow, this is finally the decentralized kind of social network that I've been dreaming about, where things just work the way crypto works. And so they have a lot of celebrity names on there, and then it has like a market value for that celebrity, like it's based on that crypto, like the Bitclout coin. So some of these celebrities they'll say, oh, they're worth 300,000. You could buy it, assuming that maybe they become more popular, and therefore you will make more money by buying into their name recognition or something like that. So it sounds like a cool idea, except there are a lot of problems with the way this whole business is structured. For one thing, the celebrities whose names are on there are not necessarily on there because they wanted to be there. They're kind of taking the top Twitter people and just dumping them on there. But anyone who knows anything about the way American law works with regard to publicity, you can't just use people's images and names and likeness and use it for your business, for business purposes. It's just not really allowed. Anybody, as an example, if Apple has an ad with someone with their image in it, you can be sure that Apple has written documentation many times over saying that they consent to being an ad and all this stuff. But the idea that a company is using people just randomly from Twitter and saying, hey, we're going to give them a market value and let people buy into it, and that doesn't really pass the, I don't really think that's right. A lot of people have talked about that. Now, one thing that this company does is that they have a lot of name backers who you would know. You would say, oh, that person can't be dumb. They invested money in it, so that makes it legit. But here's the problem with that. When you are worth billions of dollars, you want to invest in a lot of these tiny companies, and you, depending on how much you're putting down, you might not really be that careful, because your philosophy is, well, if I buy 200 of these companies, one of them is going to do spectacularly well, and it won't matter if most of them are junk. So the amount of due diligence is a lot less than you might suspect. They are just hoping that one of these becomes a spectacular investment, like when Peter Thiel put $500,000 into Facebook in 2004, and that became worth $1 billion. So that happens. But just because some really well-known person who is smart and is not a scammer invests in something doesn't mean that the idea itself is worth it. Now, the other really bizarre thing about Bitclout is that, let's say I buy a celebrity, I put money in there, and that celebrity or influencer goes up in value, and so my Bitclout has actually gone up in value. I actually cannot sell the Bitclout for something else. I can't trade Bitclout for Bitcoin. I can't, to get it off of there. You basically have to accept the idea this has to be a long-term investment, and that really doesn't quite pass the smell test, because sure, lots of companies involved in investments encourage people to think long-term, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to. Like Vanguard says, oh, you should invest for the long term, but they don't have a rule saying you can't sell the next day. If you want to do that, you can do that. Vanguard doesn't have a rule against that. So that is a little bit weird that there's absolutely no liquidity. There's no way to realize your investment. If you actually do the right thing, nothing happens. You don't get to have any value or reward. So I don't think that this really, I don't think this is a good idea. Now, I do think it's a cool idea that one can put money into a so-called influencer earlier on and profit from their rising. But if you think about it, how does this doesn't really make sense as an investment, how normal investments work, because if I want to, normally there's no way to actually invest in a person like that, because you just have to focus on one of their business interests. You can't just put the money on them as a person, say, oh, you're going to be worth a lot of money, and so I'm going to take a percentage of your income in the future. That doesn't really quite work. So I don't even know how this whole system makes any sense whatsoever. But I'm curious what my brother Danny thinks about this. What do you think about Bitclout? Does it remind you of BitConnect?
BitConnect!
Okay.
I don't think I'm gonna get a meme, but I will correct you. Vanguard might require you to have the funds clear when you buy something before you can sell it.
Okay, but they don't have a rule that you can never sell, which is the rule at Bitclout.
I think this sounds like monkey business to me. I wouldn't put my money into it.
Yeah, I'm not going to be putting any money into Bitclout. Unfortunately, I have seen a few people on YouTube talking about this, so I'm here to say I will not be investing in it. It doesn't pass the smell test, and that doesn't mean that this can't possibly work out, or a better version. I actually think maybe one that some idea similar to this that actually makes sense may at some point happen. So if you've gone this far, be sure to click the like button very gently and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.